as you're now moving from your plan to actually beginning a rough draft, I want to remind you of the standard paragraph pattern that I discussed with you at the beginning of the course. Now, it's pretty simple to follow, and I think if you do this or some version of this, you'll find that writing this essay is probably a very simple task for you. You've done a lot of the hard thinking work. Now it's just writing that essay, or putting that outline into sentence form. So remember, for body paragraphs, you're going to begin with your topic sentence. So if we are working with our thesis that this Kate Chopin in A Story of an Hour shows that, or highlights the fact that turn of the 20th century marriages were stifling for women, and one of your claims is the setting proves that, well, we're just going to turn that into a topic sentence and say the setting in A Story of an Hour indicates, hints at, suggests that marriage at the turn of the century could be stifling for women. So you're going to state that claim in a topic sentence. Then you're going to give evidence from the text that proves that claim. So you're going to discuss a passage from the text or a word or something that involves the setting, whether it's what she saw or heard when she went up to her room, whether it's the difference between her grief downstairs and what she saw upstairs, whether it's that difference. You're going to talk about some aspect of the setting from the text. And then you're going to explain how that evidence supports that the setting shows that this environment was stifling for Mrs. Mallard. Okay, then you're going to go to your next piece of evidence about setting, the next thing you need to say about the setting from the story, and interpret that. And you're going to repeat steps 2 and 3 until you run out of evidence. Okay, and remember, you're focused in just this first paragraph, for example, on the setting or on whatever it is, whatever element you chose to discuss to prove your thesis. Now, sometimes it's relevant to bring in some personal examples. This is not necessary, nor does it make sense all the time. And many people just totally leave out step 5. But perhaps you have some currency with what you're talking about, and a personal example might work, but I don't know. 9 times out of 10 students just stick to the text. And then you're going to end with a sentence that ties all the evidence that you've presented back to the claim, or here the idea of setting. Okay, now I could write a paragraph about setting, proving this thesis, but I realize that some of you guys might be using that. So I'm going to give you another example from a movie. And this is from the movie The Dead Poets Society. And you can kind of see how I have incorporated the steps to flesh out this paragraph. So here's my claim. Mr. Keating teaches many students at Welton to seize the day, and Charlie Dalton's rebellious streak is encouraged by this charge. So from this claim, we know we're going to be talking about Charlie Dalton being rebellious in the movie. Here's my first piece of evidence. We first see Dalton's rebellious nature in one of the early scenes in the film, when Dalton is the one who lights a cigarette and passes it among his friends. Okay, this is a paraphrase. So they're showing how he's rebellious. As the movie progresses, Dalton's rebellious nature is further emphasized as he composes his first poem on the back of a pinup, appropriates the moniker Nawanda, and brings the first girls to a Dead Poets Society meeting. So again, these are acts of rebellion. Perhaps, though, one of the clearest examples of Dalton's unorthodox behavior occurs during class when Keating encourages his students to practice breaking habits of conformity by walking uniquely. All the boys, save Dalton, follow Keating's instructions and hop, wiggle, or prance in the courtyard. Notice Dalton leaning against a pillar and observing. Keating questions Dalton's lack of participation, to which Dalton responds, "I'm exercising my right not to walk." So notice these are examples, right? Small snippets. This is a scene that's being described. And notice how I choose here to use this one line because it's just special, right? Just it communicates exactly the tenor of what I'm trying to prove. And that is when you choose to use a direct quotation. All of this was enough to describe and paraphrase and summarize. But this quotation here was significant enough and proved my point well, and so I included it. And then here I have my ending sentence that connects back to my claim. Dalton's response here continues the film's work of casting him as a free thinker and a radical departure from the typical disciplined Welton student. Okay, so this is an example of this pattern in practice. So give that a whirl as you are fleshing out your plan and creating your rough draft body paragraphs.